Hey guys, it's Peyton.
And Garrett, the husband.
And we want to drop in on your feed in the middle of the week. I know, a little weird for us, but we wanted to tell you guys about a podcast that we have seriously been enjoying. Let me introduce you to Sinisterhood, a true crime comedy podcast that covers all things creepy and gives you the deep dives and thorough research you want. Best friends and longtime comedians Christy Wallace and Heather McKinney cover things like serial killers, disappearances, cults, cryptids, and even do legal deep dives into things like the Britney Spears conservatorship and the legal drama surrounding Erica Girardi from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. While you're listening, make sure to subscribe to Sinisterhood via the link in the episode description on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for the intro. I'm Christy.
And I'm Heather, and we're the hosts of Sinisterhood, a true crime comedy podcast that covers all things creepy.
We bring you the deep dives on all the topics you desire, like serial killers, disappearances, cults, cryptids, and even Britney Spears' conservatorship.
You're about to hear a clip from our coverage on the disappearance and murder of Kristen Smart. In our 3-part series covering her case, we discuss Kristen's life and her family's 25-year search for answers. You'll also hear my explanation as a licensed attorney on how the DA is using Paul Flores' history of alleged sexual assaults against other women as a way to charge him with Kristen's murder, despite not yet finding her remains.
Thanks so much for checking it out, and keep it creepy. Deputy District Attorney Christopher Perverell confirmed for the judge they expect the preliminary hearing to last 12 full days, at which both sides will present their evidence to allow the judge to determine if there is probable cause to move forward with the trial. Perverell also confirmed to the judge,
"We have discovered substantial material to the defense already, and there will be additional discovery as investigation is ongoing. We will provide it as soon as we get it."
Paul's attorney said he looked forward to receiving that additional evidence.
Yeah, 12 full days for a preliminary hearing. That's going to be the one to watch because they will have to lay out piece by piece every piece of evidence in order, and the defense will lay out their rebuttal to that, and then the judge can determine. But 12 days tells me that is a lot of probable cause.
Is there a jury at those?
No,
or
I believe
is it just a
judge. In California, my understanding is that a preliminary hearing is before a judge only.
So this is just to determine if there's enough evidence to take it to trial.
Yes.
Which, if there's 12 days worth of material, you'd think that they have a lot to present.
Pretty sure they do. And what the DA said, the deputy DA said, we've discovered material. That means they've provided to the defense in discovery pre-preliminary hearing. So the defense will see everything that's going to be presented before the preliminary hearing. So you have to give up, if you're the state, you got to give everything to the other side, to the defense. Otherwise, that is a violation of constitutional rights. In Texas, it's called the Michael Morton Rule, and there's also, the Brady decision is a Supreme Court case regarding turning over what could be potentially exculpatory evidence. But this is a situation where as they are turning over all this evidence to Paul's attorney and Ruben's attorney, they could turn and go, this is a lot. On the flip side, their argument still is you cannot prove she's dead. You have no body. How are you ever going to prove she's dead? The sheriff has said the second her remains are found, Sheriff Parkinson said, we will make an announcement. So I think we would hear that in the news before we would hear it at this hearing. But that could be the other tactic. The defense kind of has two ways to go about this. Say, I'm going to go down. They're trying to prove felony murder because I was I was in the middle of a sexual assault at the time of her death. And if they bring all this sexual assault evidence, the jury may believe that. Also, they're going to just hate him when they meet. I mean, based on all of his history. And how would they not
know who he is, too? It's going to be real hard to find a jury that doesn't know about this case.
Oh, it's going to take, years of jury. So not years, but it'll be a significant amount of time for jury selection. So, I mean, as a defense attorney, you either say, okay, this is a lot of evidence, but there's still no body. Maybe we have some negotiating leverage with the DA, again, of if you let us plead out, we'll tell you where the remains are. Or if the defense attorney is just really, really aggressive, they could just say, prove your case. We're not agreeing to anything. Prove your case.
So if they did another plea like they tried before with you serve 6 years to involuntary manslaughter as long as you tell us where the body is, but if their defense is there's no body, so you can't get him on first degree murder, but then part of the plea is you have to tell us where the remains are, then doesn't that contradict what their plea is?
Well,
because he's admitting that there is a body.
Well, yeah. I mean, so at the end of the day, you have to prove your case at trial, whatever you charge him with. So if you're going to charge him with manslaughter and try to prove because of all these, we can at least prove she was in the room. We can, based on the cadaver dogs, prove that she was dead in his room. We just can't prove. And the reason why I think they're saying sexual assault to bump it to felony first-degree murder, because I don't think they can prove that it was premeditated. If it happened, I don't want to say accidentally, but it happened in the course of, did he hit her head on the ground? Did he, maybe there was strangulation? There's so many, it would just be conjecture. So I don't think you can prove premeditated, but they want to go for that higher charge. That's why they're bringing in this. And I don't think it's unreasonable, because they do have the significant evidence of subsequent sexual assaults. But I think you're right. Logically, your brain would say as a DA, well, he's telling us where the body is. But when, that's the problem when you make this deal. So do they say, we're not going to make a deal with you because we have enough evidence? And they think they can, now that they are genuinely searching all these places, they're thinking they're going to actually be able to find her somehow. Maybe that. I mean, maybe they charge Susan Flores and Mike McConville and he cracks. Somebody may break. The sister may know, whatever. That's all conjecture based on the significant digital evidence that the DA talked about. That,
well, and they searched her home too.
Yeah. So she
was one of the search warrants.
Something being, who knows? Somebody, or they, Paul's drunk at a bar and told somebody. That's what happened in the cadet murders in Texas. So people just run their mouths. Or anybody that now, because the circle has gotten wider. If Paul killed her and had Ruben help in the middle of the night, and they didn't tell Susan until 2007 when they had to move the body from Susan, then she gets looped in. Well, then Mike has to get looped in. Well, then they loop the daughter. Once the circle starts expanding, that's a lot of consciences that maybe tell somebody that could then come forward and say, yeah, they told me on February 2020, they moved her. Or they say, we tracked this car and we saw where they drove the car, when they moved her. Anyway, there's a lot of ways for them to try to find this on their own, and they don't need to play ball with him. But that's going to be interesting to see once those 12 days of evidence come out, what deal the Flores attorneys will try to negotiate, if any, and what the DA is willing to negotiate when they have 25 years of evidence, really in the last 10 years is good evidence. But when they have that much, what do you need to negotiate except for her location?